One of the coolest things about growing brands is that you get the ability to update products, trim them as you will, and bring them into the next phase of your company. And that's what we're seeing with Raw Intra, a shift of the formula, an actual increase of servings, and an overall product pruning and fine tuning. So let's talk about what changed in Raw Intra in 2021. Now, last year I did the original Raw Intra video, and I was a big fan of Raw Intra. I am, if you're not aware, a huge fan of intra workout nutrition. I find that it's one of the periods of the day that changing the nutrition you're getting during can have actual huge benefits on your progression. But sometimes it can take people a while to figure out what works perfectly for them. And that's probably the case in what's happening here. Between one ingredient that didn't really scale well with increasing servings per workout, as well as fine-tuning the sources of carbohydrates and giving the most value for the product as Raw can give. What Raw did originally was actually split up the EAA and the intra portions to give you the EAAs that you can scale up and down as you want or keep the same, and the intra to scale up and down as you want to move the carbohydrates up and down. There were some other secondary ingredients in there, like a low dose of grapeseed extract and betaine, but these things were removed in the second version to make it more of a core carbohydrate formula, which I actually really like because you can focus on the dosage of these carbohydrates, scale them as needed, and those other ergogenic ingredients like betaine, you'll get from your pre-workout and not have to worry about that dosage moving back and forth. As it stands, Raw already has huge doses of betaine across their stack, so I'm not too concerned about the loss of that. I'm actually really excited about the scalability of the carbohydrates. As someone who has driven carbohydrates extremely high intra-workout before, I kind of understand what they're going for here, and I know why they had some problems with the one ingredient. So without further ado, let's jump in and let's talk about what Raw Intra has become and why you might like the V2 a little bit more. So you can't talk about Raw Intra without talking about highly branched cyclic dextrin. Highly branched cyclic dextrin is an awesome ingredient. It is super beneficial in terms of actual endurance, but that's probably not what we're looking at here. But it does stand to say that some of the best studies on cluster dextrin showed incredible performance benefits for actual sprinters in swimming. Now, who is cluster dextrin really made for, and what kind of benefits will you see out of it? If you've used carbohydrate products in the past and they didn't quite sit well with you, cluster dextrin may be something to consider. It is a very fast-acting, fast-digesting product, but it does not cause gastric distress. It also does not cause a large insulin spike, which is a concern for some with certain types of maltodextrin or low polymerizations, or straight up sugar, high fructose corn syrups, your dextroses, the Gatorades of the world. A lot of people choose to drink those sports drinks and don't consider the yo-yo effect that it will have on your blood sugar during a training session. For those reasons, I really prefer cluster dextrin during my training, although there are a lot of people who still stick to dextrose, Gatorade, all that. If the budget will allow, I prefer athletes to be using cluster dextrin. I think it is probably the best carbohydrate on the market for intra-workout purposes, but the price tag obviously comes along with it. You get what you pay for with ingredients in this industry. How does cluster dextrin actually work for these things? Well, there are two characteristics to talk about. One is the low osmolality, and two is the high molecular weight. Unlike glucose, which has a low molecular weight, cluster dextrin, because of this, allows it to quickly get through the stomach. This can help with other things. If you've taken DR caps, you want them to hit a little bit faster, you can take some cluster dextrin with it and increase the gastric emptying rate. Now, research has shown, because of all these things, lower rates of gastric distress, and that leads into higher levels of endurance. We know this. Endurance athletes benefit incredibly highly from carbohydrate supplementation. In fact, a study in 2015, this is what I was talking about with swimmers, swimmers supplemented with 1.5 grams per kilograms of body weight during an intermittent exercise, and they saw 70% increases in time to exhaustion compared to those who were using glucose. So the control was still using carbohydrates, which we know increases performance, but even off of that baseline, which wasn't even like a placebo or anything, actual baseline of carbohydrates, 70% better with cluster dextrin. Now we know that, Raw athletes are not going to be all sprinters or swimmers, stuff like that. We're looking at, the Nick Walkers of the world, but carbohydrates are incredibly important for strength training as well. And we love the use of cluster dextrin. If not for the performance benefits that you get from endurance claims, just the lack of gastric distress is enough for me to love it. Now, originally they were using a blend of ribose and cluster dextrin. They moved this to just completely cluster dextrin. Ribose, as you scaled up the dosages, because this product is made to be used 1, 2, 3 scoops, depending on the amount of carbohydrates you need intra-workout. Ribose was causing some gastric distress with some of the athletes on the team. Matt Jamson just kind of said, hey, we're going to be removing this and making it fully cluster dextrin. Ribose has a lot of really awesome benefits, but to be completely honest, moving straight to cluster dextrin, I actually like a lot better, especially with the lack of distress coming from Ribose. There are also some other people who have some hypocaloric issues with Ribose. I think all in all, especially with the stability issues that Ribose can potentially bring, this is a all-over win going straight to cluster dextrin. And let's be completely real with the customers here. It's not a cheaper solution. This is more expensive. It is costing them more, but they're doing it to offer a better product. Now, after that, we get into coconut water powder. Outside of the cluster dextrin in this product, we have a lot of different sources of electrolytes. We have coconut water powder, we have Himalayan pink salt, a magnesium, and a potassium. So kind of want to hit all of these together. These electrolytes are super important for muscle contractions, electrolyte balance for, well, just staying hydrated. And really what I'm looking for here is the pump from staying hydrated. All of these ingredients work in tandem together, and outside of electrolytes, coconut water powder is actually one of the best ingredients in the industry for hydration. Coconut water powder contains a lot of different electrolytes as well as vitamins and minerals, and when compared to a carbohydrate electrolyte drink, studies show that coconut water actually was just as efficient as at maintaining hydration. So add that to a carbohydrate electrolyte drink and you have a powerhouse of hydration here. Now, the pink Himalayan salt is at 50 milligrams. It's not a ton of sodium here. Obviously, sodium comes out to about 50 milligrams here. A lot of people are big on huge doses of salt. To be honest with you, I think that you should be salting all of your meals consistently throughout the day. I'm not too concerned about a lower dose intra-workout. Some people might be saying, oh, I'd like more. You can add more. Salt is really cheap at the grocery store. Add more if you need. But if you think that you need all this dosage around your workout, I would probably recommend that you start to salt your meals and make that more consistent than just worrying about your intra-workout sodium intake. That being said, sodium's super important for muscle contractions. And if you're like the rest of us, you sweat out salt when you train, so it's important to be replenishing that as you go. Obviously, a lot of people drink water during their workouts. So the problem with drinking water is that you're not replenishing those electrolytes as you're replenishing water. If you're not drinking electrolytes or consuming electrolytes alongside your water, you're not going to be retaining the water that you're consuming. So it's super crucial to be getting these in with your water. Now, finally, to balance that sodium, we have some potassium chloride alongside. It's important to take these together for a bunch of different purposes, but one of them is blood pressure. Potassium is super, super underrated. It's considered a shortfall nutrient. Many researchers believe that Americans just don't get enough of it. But through a potassium-sodium interaction, potassium brings a lot of cardiovascular benefits, regulating blood pressure, and actually improving heart disease risk. That all being said, I think as a whole, this formula is a step forward. Yes, they dialed back some ingredients. We did lose one or two ingredients. However, as a whole, we now have a much more scalable product that you can scoop up if you need more carbohydrates. If you're a larger human being, if you take more carbohydrates in during your workout, if you happen to go hypocaloric often, this could be a product that you can scale further up alongside your EAAs, your pre-workouts, your stuff like that. Raw's they're pre-extreme with their pump, as well as some of their glycerol products, their EAAs. As a whole, the stack can be extremely customized. And that's kind of what we're looking at with a lot of these products coming out of the team that's making Raw and Revive. Very customizable regimens for your specific needs. They don't just have an organ health product. They have kidneys, liver, lipid, all of these different products. Same with Raw. You have all of your different sports nutrition needs split up so that you can customize them and take them together. As a whole, I'm loving the Raw Intra. I'm big on carbohydrates into workout. I will take up to 75 grams a workout. I am 270 pounds, so it's a little bit different for me from a smaller person, but I do enjoy the scalability of it now. And I'm not wasting dosages on products that I'm just taking extra amounts because I'm double, triple scooping this. If you have any questions about the product, feel free to comment below. I'd love to talk about the changes, what Raw is doing with their line. I'm a big fan of it, and I hope that you can be too. You can use PricePlow at checkout for a little bit of a discount. And obviously, because of that, we do have a business affiliate relationship with Raw and Revive. I do have to say I got this bottle for free for all the armchair lawyers at home. If you have any problems with that, comment below. I'd love to talk to you about what our relationship with them is like. I love the stuff that Raw is doing. I love the stuff that Revive is doing. And I think that as a whole, they're making a lot of wins for the industry and legitimizing a lot of things that are going on. So if you have any questions, I'd love to talk about it. As always, guys, I appreciate making this far in the video, and have a great day.
Welcome to PricePlow.